Hello everyone and welcome to another What I Think review. So, as many of you all know, I'm not a fan of the 375 range, and those of you who have seen my review of the Into the Dalek set will know my very much distaste for the 375 playsets. However, one that I have to say has always intrigued me or interested me because it really does look quite good, at least on the box, is this one, which is the Hyde playset. Compared to all the other ones did look quite good, but there's just something about the mix of colours and shapes and all the little things like this that really does sort of stand out to me as a set. And so I was lucky enough to get one of these because they're actually quite cheap and easy to get hold of. I bought this for a couple of quid, pretty much all it's worth these days if it's a 375 set. But it looks very good. Obviously it shows you on the back how you can join them all up. Obviously I'm only going to get this one, I'm not interested in getting the other ones. Comes with an exclusive figure of the hider and also 6 clock accessories, which is a nice plus because that's something that I could always use in a future model for something else. But yeah, it's a very interesting looking set, so let's get straight into this and see what we've got. And as usual, I don't have a craft blade on me to take the tape off, so oops. Knocking things over left, right and centre as usual. So let's see what we have in the box. Let's put the box off to one side. So once again we see, rather like the Into the Dalek set, we have what is effectively a box of cardboard. There's a few small plastic pieces which hold it together. We have the figures in here, which we'll come back to in a minute. We have the main part of the set, and then we have its cardboard base. So as I did last time with the Into the Dalek set, I'm going to try and do a sort of time lapse of putting this together and see how easily it goes together and see if it's any easier to put together than the Into the Dalek set. Right, well, here we have the finished set. Now, I've got to be perfectly honest, it was nice to actually have all the parts for this one, which I didn't have with the Into the Dalek set. But there were a couple of times when this still... I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't complete the Into the Dalek set because it was so fiddly and difficult to put together, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, this one isn't really that much better. Once it's finished, now it's finished, it looks fantastic. I love the look of it. It's unfortunate that it's a little bit unstable and I can't get the figure to stand up. Even if I put the figure on a flat surface, it doesn't stand up, so I think that's a problem with the figure, but we'll come back to that in a minute. But as a design, it's brilliant. I think it's fantastic. We've got a nice bit of interior, we've got the exterior, then we've got, you know, the forest in the background from the episode, and obviously we've got the TARDIS doors, and we've got all of these nice little shelves and books, and you've got these nice little clock pieces which are actually moulded plastic. There are actually proper plastic parts, so it's nice that you've got these aren't stuck down, so you can rearrange them. So from the front, it's a very nice design. However, if I turn it round, you can see how much I've had to modify with gaffer tape, even sticking it on the bottom, to make it stay together. And this is the fundamental problem with these 375 sets. And I have to say, it wouldn't matter if you just did this in 375. If you did this in 5-inch, it would still be the fundamental problem is that they do not work. They just don't go together. Even these parts that are clipped together, I've clipped these as tough as I can, but they are still really loose. They really don't stick together that well at all. And it's such a shame, really, because as much as I hated the Into the Dalek set, like I said, I look at this set and it looks brilliant. I mean, look at the detailing around all the windows. The windows are 3D, so you can actually look through them. You've got all of this detailing here, the TARDIS door detailing, and the floor, and it really is a nicely detailed set. But it just doesn't work as an idea. If this was realised, for example, okay, let's be fair here. This bottom piece of board that you've got here, now this actually keeps the floor very sturdy. That's actually quite nice that you've got that. Now, if you had this kind of netting, this board net here, on the back to support all of the backboard and everything like that, then it would make it a hell of a lot more structurally sound. For example, if this bit was one plastic piece, it really would come together for, you know, as to how it was made. And I can't actually remember how much this was when it came out. I seem to remember I saw it in Argos for about £30, which wouldn't surprise me given that the Into the Dalek set was 50. It could have been a bit less than this. It could have been 25. I don't think it was less than 20, but I could be wrong. But when you look at this, okay, let's be reasonable here, and let's say this was £20. It looks great. It really does look great, and I'm sure the Into the Dalek set would have looked great if I'd finished it. But the problem is, I'm still paying £20 for a box of cardboard. That's what you're paying for. Even the little bits like the clocks, they look really good. They're really nicely designed, and all these little box bits that you can put on top. It looks great, but it is still just a box of cardboard. And the crooked man, whatever you want to call him, the figure we've got here. Now, this isn't articulated at all. It's actually quite bendy. It's all sort of one big bit of plastic. First of all, he doesn't stand up, but he's got some little pins, so I'm sure you could do that. But the problem is, can I find a picture of him on the box? I mean, maybe it's just me, but if you look at the picture on the box, he's definitely got some face detailing there. But if we look at the actual figure, there's no eye. I mean, it doesn't look like he's got eyes there, to be fair, so I'm not going to hold that against them. But the detailing on that is just so... It really does feel cheap. That's the only way to really describe it. It feels cheap because it is just a piece of bendy... It is just a piece of bendy plastic. So I appreciate that they might not have done that much with it, but... I mean... That was the thing with the Into the Dalek set. In the Into the Dalek set, the best thing about it was the figures. And that's what made it worthwhile getting, at least when it was a cheaper price. But this one is just... It's not even that good of a figure. So, I mean, as I said, I'm glad I didn't pay the full, you know, retail price for this. I never would have done it. And I have to say, out of all of the 375 sets I've seen, this is certainly visually the best one I've seen. I know a lot of people would argue that the Dalek one's very good, and I might still try to pick up the Dalek one day, because I do want to have a look at that, because the fact that you get a Dalek with it and you get a hoverbout with it, that's very good. But I think just in terms of an actual sort of aesthetic look, the way you've got the mix of the futuristic lightning, and you've got the forest in the background, you've got the stonework, and you've got the interior, and you've got the TARDIS door, there is just something that is just very pleasing about this. I don't know what it is, and it really does sort of stand out and look good to me. So obviously, if I was reviewing this at the time it came out, I would say don't buy this because it's a waste of money. But if you can pick this set up for a couple of quid, it certainly makes for a nice display piece. So it's got that going for it. So I think it's still a 375 set. It's still rubbish in terms of what we actually got in what it could have been. But as a nice little display piece for figures and things like that, it certainly does work. And I mean, do I have... So for example, even here, I've got a standard First Doctor figure here. Now if we just put the First Doctor here, you look at him in scale to the TARDIS door, it's actually not that far out of scale. So the other nice thing about this is, even though this is made for a 375 figure, I mean, I've got somewhere, I don't know where it is, I think I've got somewhere, I think it's over there somewhere, but I have a 375. Apologies about that, my camera cut out on me. But if I put, so here for example, so here we've got a First Doctor figure. He looks very in scale with the TARDIS doors. If we put Clara there, look how tiny she is compared to the TARDIS doors. So that's the other problem with these 375 sets, is they're way out of scale for the figures. But on the plus side, they're not that far out of scale of a 5-inch set of figures. So you could really use this as a great display piece. So if you had, not something I'm going to do, but if we had a custom Clara from this episode, and then we had the custom version of the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor from that episode, which I do actually have. It's upstairs, unfortunately, so I don't have it here. But you could really use these sets for a really nice 5-inch display. I think it would work. It really would work really well. So yeah, at the end of the day, basic verdict is, as a 375 set, it's pretty rubbish, because they're all rubbish. Out of the 375 set, this is certainly one of the best ones I've seen. And although it's a terrible 375 set, it may have use as displays for a 5-inch. So who knows? You know, it's got its. I suppose the thing that I would say at the end of the day is, I would never have bought this when it came out. If you bought this when it came out, then it is certainly very much a waste of money. But as a second-hand piece of merchandise that you can pick up on eBay for a couple of quid, I actually probably would recommend it. It's not that easy to put together. It's going to be a bit of a hassle, but once it's all together, and once it's all together correctly, it actually looks really nice. So make of that what you will. I think it's very much down to individual interpretation. It's still a terrible set. It's difficult to put together, and it's certainly not worth the price it was when it was released. But now, it's not the worst thing you could spend your money on. But that brings to a close another What I Think review. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. Be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation, and you can get involved. There is exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.